I'm going to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable. You're probably wasting 20 to 30 hours per month on quotes that will never close. And you're probably doing it for free. It's not hustle. It's not good customer service. It's poor business. And the contractors who are actually making money in this market have figured out something important. They've stopped treating their expertise like it's worthless. And they've built a system that ensures they'll only spend time on customers who are serious about moving forward. Today, I'm going to break down why the estimate model is broken, what happens when you start valuing your time correctly, and the exact framework for transitioning to a quote process that filters out tire kickers and attracts real buyers. The math that nobody wants to do. Let's talk about what an estimate actually costs you. You get a call, you drive to the property. That's 30 minutes. You walk the job site, take measurements, potentially discussing options with the owner. There's another 45. You drive back, pull together pricing, create the estimate document, another hour, and then you have to follow up daily because the customer went silent. 15 more minutes per day. So you just spent 2 or 3 hours in this case on a single estimate. If your close rate is 50%, which is way above average, you're spending 5 hours of work for every job you actually book. And at a billable rate of $75 per hour, that's $375 in labor that you're eating before you ever even invoice. And it's an issue, but here's the real problem. Your close rate probably isn't 50%. For most contractors, doing free estimates is closer to 20 or 30%, depending on the lead source. And that means that you're spending somewhere between 7 and 12 hours of unbilled time for every job you win. This is why some people find that they're busy, but they're not profitable. They're running a free consulting service. Why customers ask for multiple free estimates varies, but here's what the free estimate game really entails. When a customer asks 3 or 4 contractors for a free estimate, they're not actually shopping for quality. They're shopping for price. And they're using your expertise, along with the other 3 estimates they got, to educate themselves without any intention of hiring you. They're only going to hire one person. They're going to take that detailed quote, your detailed quote, with all the line items, specifications, and use it to negotiate with someone cheaper. Or they'll attempt the work themselves. Or they'll sit on it for 6 months and then either not address it or call someone else entirely. The bottom line is you just trained your competition for free. There is a counter argument. Some contractors say free estimates are the cost of doing business. Everybody does it. Customers expect it. We do free estimates at Breezy. We get free estimates as well. But when we really dug into it, here's what the data showed. And that's professionals that monitor approval rates and charge trip fees are 8 times more likely to win the job than those who don't. 8x. Something powerful happens. It filters out the audience. Someone who knows that you're monitoring approval and charging a trip fee if not approved is demonstrating that they're serious. They've got budget, they're ready to move forward, and they value expertise. The tire kickers disappear. And suddenly that close rate that was 30% is now 70 or 80%. The 2-tier quote system that works. You're probably wondering how to actually implement this without losing every lead that comes through. Here's a framework that we're implementing more and more that we've found success with, and that is 2 levels of service. Level 1 is a free ballpark estimate. This is for straightforward jobs where you can give it a range based on your experience. It takes 10 minutes. You can do it at home. You're not visiting the site. You're not creating a detailed proposal. Based on what the prospective client says, you say something like, this is a $500 to $800 job, depending on the specific details. Based on what I see here. This serves a purpose. It helps the customers understand if they're in the right budget range. It positions you as a helpful, knowledgeable expert. And most importantly, it costs almost nothing, especially if the customer provides photos. Level 2 is what we call the level set quote. This is where you visit the site, assess everything properly, provide a comprehensive proposal with line items, timelines, any options. This is the 2 to 3 hour process, and there are expectations that come with it. The expectation varies by market, by job complexity, but the baseline is this. You expect the owner to work with you directly on price and directly on scope of work. And then that will get approved. If it isn't approved, there's a trip fee, somewhere between $50 to $100 on the low end. For larger commercial projects, it can be much higher. The key, there's no fee if that quote is approved. You're not looking for pure profit. You're looking for a commitment mechanism. What happens next is interesting. Customers will balk. They'll say they can get a commitment-free estimate elsewhere. Let them go. They weren't going to hire you anyway. They're going to waste your time and use your information to price shop. The customers who do agree are invested. They're serious. And when you deliver that detailed quote, they're actually reading it with the intent to move forward. How to position quotes without losing credibility. Now, the language here matters. You're not charging for an estimate because you're greedy or because you think you're special. You have an expectation because you're providing professional services that have real value. Here's how one successful contractor frames it. I offer free ballpark pricing over the phone to help you understand if this project fits your budget. If you'd like a detailed site estimate and comprehensive proposal, the expectation is that you will work with me on the scope and the price to get it approved. I have a trip charge if there's no approval in 5 days. That way I could spend the time to really understand your specific situation and give you accurate pricing and recommendations. On approval, you'll never see a trip charge on your final invoice. So notice what just happened there. They position themselves as a partner, not as a commodity. They explained the value received and the risk was removed when they explain what happens on approval. Customers respect this. The ones who don't weren't your customers anyway. What changes when you respect your own time? At Breezy, we've not only watched contractors make this transition, but we continue to make the transition with our customers ourselves. The first few weeks are uncomfortable. There's always a worry that business will be lost. The decision is second guessed. I feel myself anxiety increasing just talking about it. But I know and I have seen that something shifts. Calendars clear up. Time is spent on actual jobs and on estimates that have 80 to 90% close rates. Every quoted job has already demonstrated the intent by agreeing to the terms. Revenue goes up, not because of the trip charges, which are minimal, but because we're spending time on work that actually generates profits instead of free consulting. Our customers respect us more. And the unexpected benefit is that on average, we have better customers. Not only are we respected more, but we respect our customers more because people who value expertise don't mind this type of agreement. They want a professional who takes their work seriously and who takes the job seriously. The perceived value skyrockets. Making the switch. So I just vomited my mouth. How do we actually implement this? This is a clean path forward. Level set quote expectations are key. This is a written document. You can write it right now by hand as I say this. That includes 2 terms. Your business name expects customers to work with us directly to find the right scope of work and price for the job. If the quote is not approved within 5 days, your business will assess a $50 trip charge. That's the level set quote. Then, number 2 is putting this quote into action. And you start with your largest, most complex jobs, the ones where the estimates take the most time, have the lowest close rates, anything over a few $1,000s. Maybe you're the first ones to start. Then you keep offering free ballpark estimates for smaller, straightforward work, and you start to close the gap. But start with the big ones. Now, you got to test how you position this, present it to different customers, see the reactions, pay attention to who's paying willingly and who's pushing back. This will tell you everything about that ideal customer that you're looking for. Give it a few months, track your approval rates, your average revenue per quote, overall profitability. Numbers will make the case better than any argument that I can. All said, I just want you to know that your time has value. Your expertise has value. And when you give it away without any commitment for approval, you're training the market to see you as a commodity. When you create an expectation for it, even a small amount, even a small expectation increases your value. And it's a completely different position. One that leads to better customers, one that leads to higher margins, one that leads to a business that's working for you instead of the other way around. So I'd love to hear from you. What are your experiences with estimates? Are you doing them with expectations? Are you doing them without expectations? Have you made the switch? At Breezy, we're working tirelessly with field team partners to get to 90% approval, with trip charges when we aren't. Let me know how it's going in the comments, or visit joinbreezy.com/join if you want to learn more about how to take this approach to the next level. And I'll see you on the next one.